You're listening to the Multiverse Fancast, proud member of the Misfit Faction Media Network.
Be ready. All right, then. On with the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Multiverse Fancast, episode 101. If you guys are tuning into us on the go, you can listen to us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and basically anywhere you listen to podcasts. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Paul, and with me is frickin' Frack themselves. First up, we have Ronnie. Ronnie, how are you today? Okay, and Rob.
Wait.
Why is he always
Frick.
first?
It's Frick.
You said frickin' Frack.
Mr. Frick to you.
Mr. Frick.
I'm
Mr.
doing-
Frick's my dad.
I'm doing quite well. How are you, sir?
Miserable.
Okay.
All
Good
right.
to know.
And Frack, how are you today?
I am joyous and excited to be here.
All right, Rob. That's his actual name. I don't want anybody to get confused.
Rob Frack.
Rob Frack. Mr.
Frack and Rob.
I identify as one
Been
Frack.
called that before.
And on this family podcast, it's already going off the rails. But we are super excited to be here. We also want to thank everybody who tuned in for our 100th episode. We love you. Our 100th episode.
Woo!
Our 100th.
Woo!
Rob's also going through puberty apparently over there.
I can't hit the high notes anymore.
Not since my youth.
Woo!
Why did Rob have to go to the emergency room?
Strained vocal cords.
He pulled out a throat muscle. Oh, and we're talking about Robin tonight.
Yay.
Yeah. So, yes, we are here because we have not done a character study in quite some time, so we kind of racked our brains for 4 minutes on text message.
And I might add, this was also a listener-requested one, too.
By who?
I have someone who actually did request it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes. Yeah.
I totally checked the social media and all that stuff. But
This was an in-person request.
oh,
Yes. So hopefully she will be listening.
I hope so, because I am a huge fan of Robin. I was because I was the target demographic.
Not the bird.
Not the bird. I mean, the bird's pretty cool, too.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Birds are just cool in general.
Sign of spring.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And just, a majestic animal. Quite a majestic animal. But I was always a big fan growing up of Robin because he did exactly what he was supposed to do. He's supposed to make you want to be in the Batman world, but also not be Batman.
Yeah.
So adults want to be Batman. Kids usually want it to be Robin. If your kid wants to be Batman, be very careful, because if it's your kid to become Batman, you need to have no parents.
It's funny.
Yes.
You actually just reminded me that when we were
same with
little,
Robin.
I was about 8, and for that Halloween I was Batman, and my brother, who was 4, was Robin.
Love it.
Wow, there you go.
I love it.
And
was Robin
I
once.
might add that they were homemade Marina costumes.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Ooh.
Marina made them for us.
Oh, very cool.
Look at that.
But for me, I always loved Robin. I was a big fan of the character, and also Robin's a character that, unlike a lot of other superheroes, grew up and changed and evolved over time. And there's been several different ones. We've had Robins that turn into other characters, and just very interesting.
We've had Robins that have been resurrected.
Yes,
Yep.
Yes.
Robin's killed by popular vote.
No, by a phone call.
Oh man.
We'll get to that.
But so we're really excited to kind of dive into the lore, the mythology, the different iterations, the different characters who have been Robin, and why Robin is such an important part of the Batman mythos, and how it still has lasting impact, even though the name Dick Grayson does not.
Yes.
Yeah, even though I would argue that Dick Grayson's it's up there with Peter Parker, Bruce
Oh,
Wayne,
yeah.
like an iconic name that people know. Because I've never actually met somebody who Richard that goes by Dick anymore. It's a very old timey.
What'd you call me?
Your name's not even Richard, so I would like to start there. But
Did you just call him Bob?
I do like how in the Lego Batman movie they do make fun of it.
Yes.
My name's Richard, but they call me Dick. Well, kids can be cruel.
Kids can be cruel.
But before we do that, we are going to jump into some news, and we're going to turn it over to Rob because he likes some sort of organization in the podcast.
I guess so.
Yeah.
All right. First up on the news, we had this week the Eternals final trailer. Well, what they are calling the final trailer. It's the second trailer that they've released, so that indicates that they're not going to be releasing anything significant. But it did release a little bit of the plot. Apparently, there is some sort of, what do they call it that happens? The engagement or the I forget what they call it.
I forget what it's called, too.
Something like that.
And it's happening in 7 days. It hints at possibly Galactus. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's something happening where someone is coming to judge the planet because of the resurgence of all the people who came back after the snap. And the Eternals are there to sort of defend against the Deviants, not variants. Deviants, and they've been fighting the deviants for thousands of years. I will say it very much looks like a Chloe Zhao movie. As someone who's watched Nomadland, The Rider, and even Songs My Brothers Taught Me, I guess, I'm looking at her IMDb. That is the entire list of movies she's done. As someone who's seen those 3 movies, it very much looks like a Chloe Zhao movie, which I'm very excited about. She is someone who is able to help an audience care about individuals that have mostly been forgotten about in society. So it's what do you guys think of the Nomadland? Jeez, of the Eternals trailer?
Didn't blow me away.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was like off air. It looks like a lot of CGI.
Okay.
Which could be great, but it can also be like a crutch, kind of.
Well,
thing.
and what's
So,
interesting is Chloe Zhao in her 3 movies uses 0 CGI.
Yeah.
Like she is someone who actually shoots with a lot of natural light. So that'll be an interesting kind of comparison.
Yeah, kind of see how she does with it and everything.
Exactly.
I don't know. It didn't like sway me one way or another.
We're gonna go see it.
Yeah,
regardless.
exactly. So it'd be interesting to see where it goes and everything.
I'm just, like I watched the trailer and they make it a point to be like, well, where were you guys during Thanos?
Yeah, they
and
drew that out.
everything else.
Because that was one of the big questions.
The biggest question.
Why didn't they stop Thanos?
Yeah. It's a very ballsy move to be introducing a team of characters that they're already implying are way powerful, like almost god level powerful. And we have had some very powerful characters in the Avengers universe, or excuse me, in the MCU. Thor, Captain Marvel, like you have those god tier kind of characters. But to have a whole team of them that have been on Earth, just kind of like, oh man, like were any of them affected by the blip? Did any of them, fade out of existence? What is their role going to be? It's very interesting to introduce a space like a cosmic level team that's just been hanging out on Earth. That'd be like if Star-Lord was like, "Oh, I was here the whole time."
Yeah.
But I'm again, we're gonna go see it. We'll be in the theater watching it.
Did you get any Superman vibes from it?
Oh God, it was
All
painful.
of them?
It was painful.
Yeah, especially Rob Stark with his
Laser
The
beam
laser
eyes.
eyes,
Yeah.
and the fact that he's flying in
call him
super
Rob
strength.
Stark,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, you know what it is? There are a lot of, I don't want to say rip-offs of Superman, but it's a very standard power typing.
Yeah.
The flying, the super strength. Like you see it in shows like Invincible or The Boys. This Superman himself is a superhero archetype, like that kind of character. So I'm sure, like character-wise, he's gonna be very different, but power set-wise, he looks in the same vein.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question, since this is something that you're always complaining about with Marvel movies. Does it look like other Marvel movies?
Until they started quipping at the end. It had its own, and that's not a slight against Marvel,
No.
but it definitely has the flavor of a Marvel movie. But I'm hoping it is a little bit different. Like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 has the flavor of a Marvel movie, but it's also not a standard Marvel movie. It's got a little bit more of that scale. If they're able to do characters like Galactus and do them justice and stuff like that, we'll see Celestials in action. I'm excited for another Marvel movie, especially one to have some stakes, because unfortunately, like we made it no secret that Black Widow did not blow us away.
No.
So I'm excited to kind of get back to it with Shang-Chi and then this.
Fun fact. The idea that where you use a quip or a humor to break up a dramatic moment, it's called bathos.
Huh.
It's called not a DC movie.
It's called Marvel, not a DC
It's
movie.
called not a DC movie.
All right, so continuing on, and in a related news, which is sort of a non-news, we have no Spider-Man preview.
It's getting.
All right,
Kevin Feige has said that there will be a trailer at some point, but he's waiting as long as he can.
He said, "Don't worry, the trailer will come out before the movie does."
The day before.
Probably.
I have a theory, actually, that I came up with this the other
Another
night.
one?
We are in the middle of Shang-Chi and the Eternals coming out, and so the market is fairly saturated, even with What If episodes coming on. And I think to introduce a Spider-Man trailer might just be. I think Kevin Feige is probably thinking about it. It's just too much.
Yeah.
But see,
and
that's
that
also
makes sense. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see a Spider-Man trailer until mid-September now.
I don't even think it's up to Kevin Feige though. That's a Sony call. Sony technically owns all that stuff and do all they just kind of lease it.
I wonder if Sony has the rights to when they release a trailer.
It's their studio. It's their property technically. Same with Venom. Like, Venom got pushed back, 2 weeks now again?
Yeah.
But we've still been getting trailers and stuff for that. So I think there's something that's going to happen. Unfortunately, like, I don't get it because we had trailers for Infinity War and Endgame, and we still had no clue what was going on going into those movies. So I think it's a very unique strategy that they're trying.
Which I have to be honest, I would rather them err on the side of knowing less about what's going on than too much as to what's going on before I go into a movie. Like with Endgame, we knew nothing.
Yeah.
We didn't see what Thor looked like. We didn't see anything. And it was
Thanos was still alive.
Yeah, it was like a shock when being in that theater.
Same with the Suicide Squad. You didn't know what was happening in Suicide Squad either.
Free Guy.
Free Guy. That was another one. Because again, you don't want anything to be spoiled for you.
Yeah,
that's the worst. It's like you see a trailer and it's like, but I wanted to be surprised by that in the movie.
The worst is when you see a trailer and then you're watching the movie waiting for those moments.
And,
yes.
Well, Marvel puts fake scenes in their trailers.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Like the Spider-Man Iron Man scene.
Yep.
There was in Avengers Endgame, they put a scene with the Hulk running towards the action, and he's not in there. Also in movie news, James Gunn was speaking this week, and he announced that Starro was not always the intended big bad for the third act. It was going to be
Superman.
Yep. We were going to see an evil Superman fighting them.
Yeah, but you know what? He's also done a lot of interviews after. So Suicide Squad's a very unique case. Or excuse me, the
Suicide Squad.
It's a very unique case in that box office wise, it's doing horrendously.
Yeah. Yes, but theater box office wise, yes.
But
in terms of HBO Max,
HBO Max
they won't
right now.
anything.
Right now, it's at second place for an R-rated movie this year. It's going to be because we're going to talk about it in a second, but they just announced literally today that they're going to do a Black Canary solo film for HBO Max starring Jurnee Smollett, but James Gunn has gone on an interview like when he was talking about doing like a Suicide Squad versus Justice League movie, which I would love to see him do. But he's like, they haven't told me anything, and people are asking if Henry Cavill's still Superman. He's like, I have no idea. Unfortunately, the DC universe is so in flux at this point. I would be totally okay if they decided to just devote like all the Snyderverse stuff is HBO Max. Here's your Zack Snyder universe. It's still there. So that way it would be a smart marketing move, and then do like their solo stuff, basically putting an
like
R-rated
a Snyderverse and a Berlanti-verse,
like an R-rated Arrowverse, basically on HBO Max.
It'd be smart for them to do.
It looks like they might be going that way because it seems like all the upcoming projects are in the DCEU. So we'll see.
All right. Well, James. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying. I'm just hoping that, despite box office numbers, that WB is still like, we're gonna let our directors decide everything because this worked out very well for us, at least reception wise, critically, and by audiences. Again, maybe not by theater box office, but we don't know HBO numbers.
And that's the funny thing, because when it comes to Suicide Squad, that movie had a huge opening weekend. I think it was like 133 million opening weekend.
Yeah.
And racked up huge numbers, but is universally loathed nowadays. Whereas this is one, and if you think about those movies that what?
Rodney loves that movie.
Okay, I enjoy. I enjoy the movie, but I was agreeing to the loathing because I know I'm like in the minority with I enjoy the movie.
Is it
for
like
the millionth time,
a guilty pleasure for you?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, I understand it's like a -8 on some people's score, and, but I do enjoy. I could watch it, but I'm not going to sit there and think this is amazing.
Yeah, so what I'm hoping for is that with the Suicide Squad, that although the box office numbers aren't big, that it is a universally loved film and will play for years and years and years.
Yeah.
Has a lot of repeat viewing.
Strong correction course for WBDC.
Similar in the movie news, we have first reactions for Shang-Chi are in. It is universally positive. Now, I went back here just because everyone's like, oh yeah, I'm sure it's everyone's saying great things because of plants.
Same with Black Widow.
Now, here's what I did. Speaking of Black Widow, I went back to the Black Widow first reactions, and I looked for those who had negative Black Widow reactions, and I wanted to see what they said about Shang-Chi. And actually, they were saying really positive things about Shang-Chi. So I've got hope for it. I think it'll be good.
I don't believe in we've had this discussion trillions of times now at this point. It's so easy. I can make an account on IMDb right now, go on there and give a movie like The Suicide Squad a 1. And that will affect its general standings. Hell, if we wanted to do like solid movie reviews, we could do solid, like put articles out about movie reviews like we do it. It's very easy to review bomb. Like, unfortunately, that is a result of toxic fandoms. We've seen it a lot of when the Snyderverse movement was big. They tried to review bomb other films, and Marvel's been accused and Disney's been accused of review bombing other films. So it's unfortunately it's a very flawed system now that everyone can do it. It's kind of like having a podcast. Anybody can do a podcast, but
I mean, come on.
I think we're evidence of that.
Oh, I have a great meme that I'm going to post just for Ronnie about podcasting. I keep forgetting though. But like for me, reviews and even early reactions, I follow a lot of different people, and I follow like the ones that I like. I'll usually take a little bit more, but it's so hard going into a movie with that in the back of your mind. I really wish that they would really like let out reviews after the movie's been released for at least a day or two. But now you get a review sometimes like a week or two in advance, and it's like,
See, I don't think I've ever read a review before a movie. Even really probably after a movie, I don't think I've really read a review, because I'm like, you know what? Everyone has their own taste. Like I like this, but Rob might like this instead. You might like this instead. You might not like what I like. So, well, you know what? I don't care what people think.
At least we're all of the opinion that What If is okay.
Speaking of What If, and we are now in television news, What If, and it's not a big news, but this week, What If, the second episode came out, and it starred Chadwick Boseman.
Yes.
It was a very sweet, wonderful episode about how it really was. It was all about how if Black Panther was picked up off the earth instead of Chris Pratt's character, Peter Quill, how it would have changed everything. And it really showed how Black Panther just spread love and joy and peace and happiness throughout the entire universe. Like Thanos changed his mind because of him in terms of eliminating everyone. It really is a love letter for Chadwick Boseman. It is also rumored that Chadwick Boseman will pop up in 4 more What If episodes,
He did
playing
a bunch.
different versions of him. So this is not the last we've heard of Chadwick Boseman. We have a couple more.
Yeah, the first episode of What If did not blow me away. No. I do think Peggy Carter did deserve her time to shine, and she's a very underrated character.
And I want to make a pitch too. If you haven't watched it, Agent Carter.
It's very good.
It's a great. It went 2 seasons. It's a fun. It's a fun series.
But like it didn't have the same kind of repercussions that the second episode would have. Like basically, the second episode almost erased half the Marvel continuity. Like because the entire thing with the Infinity Saga, it was all about getting the Infinity Stones. I was kind of disappointed that they made no reference to Gamora. She was.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Also, it was very weird hearing Nebula call him Cha-Cha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Hey, Cha-Cha.
I hate Cha-Cha. Cha-cha-cha.
But it was so sweet.
It was
do
on
the cha-cha
radar.
slide?
They did not do the cha-cha slide.
And then finally, also, and this is my last bit of news, television news-wise, She-Hulk wrapped filming. Now, I know what you're thinking, but She-Hulk, I've been reading, is being pitched as a comedy. I don't know if you've heard
A
this.
Marvel comedy?
Isn't Ant-Man really the only other Marvel comedy? And that's even like
Guardians of the Galaxy.
I will dare you to take a drink for every quip in an Iron Man movie and let me know if you're even coherent enough to do a podcast.
But this one they're
afterwards.
pitching as a comedy. Like there's a difference between being a comedy and having comic elements to it.
Yeah.
Again, that bathos. But I've been reading that She-Hulk is a comedy, a lawyerly comedy.
I think Marvel, everything they do, with the exception of the Defenders Netflix universe, was action comedy.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until Avengers, like, they definitely had their dramatic moments, but for the most part, they were action movies with comedic and dramatic elements. I will not say that any Marvel property was necessarily a comedic one.
No.
But with the exception of Deadpool now. But
Now,
even that's got the heart to it.
I can't confirm this, but this is just what I'm seeing on IMDb. They are listing Mark Ruffalo as being part of the show.
I don't trust IMDb with that
And
stuff.
Tim Roth.
They've been wrong a lot.
But I am trusting this one. Jamila Jamil is on there. If you don't know her, you might know her from The Good Place, who was very, very funny from that series. I'm looking forward to it. I think it could be a nice change of pace for Marvel, considering that all three shows have been there hasn't been a lot of comedy in those shows, in the television shows. WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Loki, if any of them, Loki might have had the most
funny moments.
Yeah,
I think because of their sort of like Office Space like environment.
But then you also have the buddy cop style of
Mobius.
of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh, that's
like the two of them. Like, I read The Hobbit when it first came out, son. Wizards hats. Like, they have their moments. I think they did a very good job of balancing.
That's wrapped, and as that has wrapped, there's not much news in this, but Oscar Isaac, Moon Knight, there it is. Moon Knight is still shooting. There's some videos coming out, and also some
Apparently
images and
his
videos of his
leaked,
costume.
They'll release an official.
We're excited about that one, especially because Ethan Hawke is in that one too. Who's just a
I did not look
powerhouse of an actor.
Moon Knight's one of those characters that I don't know too much about.
Either,
I know enough about. I have a passing knowledge. I know that he gets his powers from the Egyptian gods. He's got multiple personalities. They call him Marvel's Batman.
Yes, that I do know.
So I'm excited.
I've read some Moon Knight, but it didn't reveal too much for me other than just sort of that Batman, Bruce Wayne-esque kind of.
Yeah.
But,
all right, and that wraps up news.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are jumping right into Robin. The boy wonder himself. But first, a quick break. Today's episode is brought to you by Raise Energy Drinks from Rep Sports. Whether you're trying to crush your afternoon workout or just need a little extra pick-me-up, Raise Energy is just the boost that you're going to need. So if you go to repsports.com and any product that you order, enter the code MISFIT89 at checkout to receive 15% off. Anything that you guys buy from that store helps our network grow, and we fully appreciate everything you guys do. That's MISFIT89 at checkout, repsports.com. All right, we are back, and we are here to talk about Robin the Boy Wonder. Ronnie, initial thoughts. Ronnie, initial thoughts on Robin.
Not
the bird.
Not the bird. Okay, yeah, that's what I was going to go. Well, I know they can fly pretty fast, like 17 miles per hour.
That's oddly specific.
Right?
He's a numbers guy.
Someone Google me. Tell me if I'm right. No. As they all reach
I'm
for
on
their
it.
electronics.
Everybody did. How fast? Go ahead, keep talking.
But no.
20 to 36 miles per hour.
You were so not right.
Well, because I wanted to be exact. I was going to say like 20 miles per hour.
Let's talk about
That's a fat bird.
Yeah,
talk
right?
about sidekicks.
Okay.
They're better than front kicks, but not as good as back kicks.
Amen to that.
Martial arts.
This is recording, right?
But I do like roundhouse kicks. So, no, the OG sidekick, the thing that started it all, the hard part is, what is a sidekick? Like we got Robin, but name another sidekick. It's hard to name another sidekick.
Yeah, he's probably like the quintessential sidekick.
Exactly. You have a partner.
I was really ready to start listing sidekicks.
Were you? You want to list
Go
them for
it.
us?
Yeah, let's hear some of these sidekicks.
Kid Flash, Aqualad, Wonder Girl.
So far, none of these are like
Kid Flash is the only one that's like sticking.
Well,
Aqualad,
Kid
I
Flash has
remember.
become way more popular in more recent years.
but only because of the CW's Flash.
The CW and also
And
Young Justice.
I was saying Aqualad from Young Justice.
Aqualad has grown and evolved as a character. Donna Troy is growing a little bit in popularity. Wonder Girl, for those of you guys who don't know. On the Marvel side, they did more of like, now it's a lot more of the new Young Avengers that they've been working on.
Yeah.
Like even in the more, like Kate Bishop is technically a sidekick. You also have characters like
Pie Face.
Yeah, Pie Face.
That is a Green Lantern sidekick.
Bucky Barnes was technically a sidekick when he first got introduced. So sidekicks were definitely a DC kind of thing. Stanley was very adamant that child sidekicks were a crutch and were something that he didn't enjoy. So DC was the one that kind of spearheaded that. Roy Harper, we were big fans of Roy Harper on Arrow. So, and now obviously we're going to talk a little bit about Titans today, which was basically a team of sidekicks.
I think no sidekick is more popular than Robin.
Oh, obviously, yeah. Robin is the sidekick. Batman and Robin.
Again, I guarantee you, Paul had to look up all the sidekicks in order to name them.
No, that was top of my head.
That was
I
could see it.
But even characters like Superboy and Supergirl were never considered Superman's sidekicks.
No.
Batman and Robin, it's a common used term.
Yeah.
Like, I'm Batman and Ronnie's my Robin, and Rob, you're Alfred. We all know.
I'm working on that.
Did you? I just found out that Alfred's dead in the comics. I did not know. They actually they recently killed Alfred in the comics.
Old age. I'm sure they'll bring him back.
Bane broke his neck.
Oh.
Yeah,
they'll bring him back in the Lazarus Pit or something.
Of course they will. They'll figure something out.
He becomes a new Batman.
But Rob, thoughts
sort of
on
timey-wimey shenanigans,
something like that. Rob, thoughts on Robin or sidekicks in general?
Sidekicks seem to play a few different roles. I've noticed that sidekicks they soften. Why did I emphasize the T in that? They soften the
one letter that's silent. Yeah, right.
They soften the main character, whereas Batman can be very gruff, very dark. Robin is sort of like, and even just looking at his costume, he's the much lighter one. He's lighthearted. He's more innocent. He's a sweeter person. Sidekicks sometimes help to bring in the younger generations.
Yeah.
Where you've got, you want little kids to look at these sidekicks and want to be them, and because they're more kid friendly.
I was Robin for Halloween once.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sidekicks oftentimes bring out characteristics in the main character that isn't often usually seen because they're alone. And it's when you have a main character. Actually, I was reading about this. One of the main reasons why they brought about Robin was because Batman was consistently talking to himself in the comics.
Yeah.
And they needed him to talk about his detective stuff with someone else, and so they brought him in. And actually, I would say outside of comics, one of the most popular sidekicks is Sherlock Holmes and Watson.
Yeah.
And Robin was actually modeled after Watson in a lot of respects. I was reading about this, and they said that when they came up with Robin, they had two people in mind. One was Watson. They wanted him to be the Watson to Batman's Sherlock. And they were also thinking of Robin Hood, where a lot of his costume comes from as well. You can see it in the greens and the reds and sort of the hunter aspect of him. Yeah, the hood. So he's the OG, like you said, he's the OG sidekick.
So here's a list of some of the most famous sidekicks or characters that are considered sidekicks.
Goose.
All right.
Goose and Maverick. Don Quixote Sancho Panza.
Oh, right.
Sure. Yep. Yeah.
That did not. I know.
Oh, okay. I'm
just
wondering
saying,
why the laughter.
I would never thought of that.
Oh, yeah.
Sherlock Holmes is Dr. Watson. The Lone Ranger's Tonto. Yeah, Tonto's another very famous one.
That's racist.
Well, not anymore. Well, when Johnny Depp is Tonto, then it's racist. The Green Hornet's Kato. Donkey and Puss in Boots, Shrek.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I can see why. Mickey Mouse is Donald Duck and Goofy. Luigi and Yoshi.
I disagree with that.
Some of these are
the Luigi one.
No, with Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse. I disagree with that completely.
But
Donald
they probably
Duck, no.
started out as sidekicks.
See, I wouldn't see.
They were second fiddle.
Yeah, they were.
I could see Pluto because that's his. But that's his pet.
Well, don't
that's
forget,
not even a sidekick. That's his
Mickey
pet.
was the main draw, and you had Steamboat Willie and stuff like that coming out, and then they branched off from there with other characters that were sidekicks, and then they developed their own thing.
See, my thing is though, sidekick and a partner. There's a difference.
Okay.
Right.
In more recent years, that's been a very big topic of discussion, and Titans, like. For those of you guys who aren't watching Titans, if you're a comic book fan and you're not watching Titans,
which we will be discussing soon,
and that was one of the reasons we wanted to do a Robin story because producer Melanie, for those of you guys who don't know, Bibliophiles Assemble on Instagram, check it out.
What? Woo! Oh yeah!
And apparently somebody called 911. Ronnie's having a seizure, but they do a lot of discussion about not only the psychological damage of being Batman's partner, but also like, were we ever equals to him? Are we trying to live in this shadow? Like, what what he did, was it for, to help us or to help himself?
Yeah.
And they do a really great job diving into that sort of identity crisis that the characters are having.
Right.
Yeah, because to me, a partner is someone that
Is considered an
hold
equal.
Yes, consider they're equal. They can hold their own by themselves. A sidekick is someone that needs their Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not saying Robin. Well, Robin does, but other, like, we're getting ahead of ourselves. But like Nightwing, Red Hood, they don't need Batman.
Yeah, the sidekick has to grow and then become an equal to the hero. The show Young Justice does a very good job of showing Batman and Robin more as partners, like where they're able to act on each other without words, without communication. They just do because they know each other so well. On Arrow, you had Roy Harper, and when he was Arsenal, they did a great job of showing the two of them very in sync.
Yes.
But going down this list, also we have Tails, Sonic and Tails. That's a good one. Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong.
Wow, this is going deep.
Yeah. Captain America's Bucky, and then Batman's Robin.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's a very old phrase.
The sidekick.
The sidekick. The kick was the front pocket of a pair of trousers, believed to be the pocket safest from theft. Thus, the analogy sidekick was a person's closest companion. That's where the phrase
I just
actually
looked
came
up the same exact thing you did.
Yep.
So I love word origins.
Oh, yeah. I like stuff like that. But usually the sidekick is to, like Rob said, point out do justice to the character that they're dealing with.
Yeah.
And also call out said character or be the opposite. Watson is very famous for constantly calling out Sherlock Holmes. Like, stop doing that. It's not right.
He plays by the book while Sherlock Holmes is like,
Yeah,
we could deviate
and I think that's a
around.
character trait of a lot of sidekicks is
Yeah.
they're not the same person as the main
Yes.
individual. They complement the word different being complement with an E. They set off different aspects. So, like, for example, even in the most recent Sherlock stuff with Benedict Cumberbatch, where you have him going into sort of morphine-induced hallucinogenic elements, that Watson is very grounded and very like law-abiding. So they always are very personality-wise very different from one another.
And sometimes the sidekick plays an essential part to the hero surviving their mission. Tim Drake, the third Robin, who we will talk about, was able to convince Batman to take him on as a Robin because he convinced him that Batman needs a Robin to balance out that inherent darkness, because Batman is a character that toes the line between hero and full-blown psychopath. And comics have done a very good job at exploring that. It's the characters like Robin, Alfred, Batgirl who keep Batman in check.
Yes.
So let's start at the very beginning. We have Dick Grayson, obviously the most famous of the Robins.
Now, as you're saying
The most
this,
famous
I
Robin
want to
of
say
all?
this. First of all, this I have to say this was a show I'm very, very excited about because this is a topic I know very little about. I don't know much about Robin. So I spent this week looking up a lot of stuff about Robin, watching a lot of videos. And as Paul's about to get into, I found out there are, in fact, 6 Robins.
Yes.
6 Robins that we're going to be talking about. One is not technically canon, but it's still a very predominant character. So we wanted to include her on the list. But for
The most famous
Robin of all.
is
Dick Grayson.
Dick Grayson.
Yep,
Go.
that's where we're starting. So Dick Grayson, his story was very simple. He was a child acrobat whose parents worked. They were the Flying Graysons.
Yes.
And this was when circuses were really big, I guess.
Yeah.
I had a circus visit my hometown.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, I did.
The Ringling Brothers.
No, it wasn't it was like a one of these
Knockoff?
traveling circuses.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
they
okay.
came to Little Kenilworth, New Jersey, and set up their tent. And we all went. And it was
That's
very
funny.
exciting.
So Robin was introduced in 1940. Like, he is one of the longest lasting comic book characters around. You got, Superman was only early 30s, I want to say 33, something like that. But Robin came around in Detective Comics number 38, 1940. Very famous shot of him exploding through the circus ring.
Oh yes.
But basically, his parents were acrobats. They were part of a circus called Haley Circus, I think is the typical name of it.
Yeah.
And his parents were killed, but when a gangster named Tony Zuko cut the lines to the trapeze because it's Gotham City. You owe money for protection.
Yes, the Graysons did not want to pay for that protection, and so Zuko was there with the scissors.
So they've had a lot of different interpretations, but it is the most common thing that he was an acrobat, a child acrobat, and Bruce Wayne's there at the actual circus, and he watches it happen, and he kind of takes on this kindred spirit where it's like hey, that's me. Like
Yeah.
I see that.
Yeah, he was at that circus.
Yeah, so they've had different interpretations. Like in Batman Forever, they had him as an adult, which was still one of the weirdest
Okay,
things.
I have a question for you. I'm going to
Yes.
put you on the spot. And because I don't know the answer to this, how many times have we seen the Graysons die in film or television?
You saw it in Batman Forever.
Okay.
They showed it in Young Justice.
Did they?
Alluded to in Batman the Animated Series. They showed it. They alluded to it in Teen Titans.
Yes.
They showed it in Titans, which we've been watching. So probably like 5-6 times.
Okay.
It unfortunately. So here's the interesting thing about Robin, especially in film. Warner Brothers and most film studios were very hesitant to put a child in a superhero movie. They thought it wasn't believable, that it was unrealistic, that it was a bad example, and that it didn't make sense. And then it wasn't until you got Kick-Ass with Hit Girl where suddenly like people were like, well, maybe it can work.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do it. So the child sidekick was something that in comics worked really well, but studios were afraid to adapt.
I looked this up, and it says that Robin, when he first joined Batman, was 13.
I've heard he got raised from the age of he was trained from the age of 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like there are different
He didn't officially become Robin until around 13.
yeah, so I want to in different stories they have different interpretations. Like that's why I love Batman Forever, where he's a 19-year-old. Like why does he need to be a ward of anybody?
Yeah.
And he doesn't need any sort of training. But typically Robin went through like years of training with Batman first, and then I want to say he had to evade Batman through the streets of Gotham for one whole night in order to be considered ready for patrol. So, and during that time, he actually managed to take down a crime boss of his own. So, yeah, it was Robin's.
And Dick Grayson is the most popular of all the Robins, or I should say, one of them. Everyone knows when you think about Robin, you're thinking of Dick Grayson.
Typically.
Yeah,
Yes.
typically.
Or you just don't know that Robin's more than one character.
Right.
Dick Grayson is also the perfect example of a character growing from the Robin mantle into his own unique character, and one that's you could argue is more popular as this new character than he was as Robin, and he was very popular as Robin.
Yeah.
Comic book sales went up. He's been in a lot of different interpretations of the character. We're going to talk about some of Robin in other media towards the end, but Ronnie, any thoughts on Dick Grayson? Like, what do you know about Dick Grayson? What was your kind of exposure to him? What are your thoughts?
I mean, first exposure for me was Batman Forever.
Me
to
too.
him, I feel like
That's a movie I will defend.
Yes.
I
All right,
like that movie.
I have to speak about this for a second because I believe I was the only one alive when that movie came out. Is that correct? No? How old were you?
I think I was young.
When did that movie come out?
93?
Yeah.
Oh, it was 4.
Oh, okay.
I was 6, 7.
Okay.
I saw it in theaters. I was wearing a Robin shirt.
Oh, okay.
And my dad took me to go see it.
I had just graduated high school.
That's funny.
And I remember Lauren and I went and saw that in a Virginia movie theater. It was a $2 theater.
Yeah, 95.
And 95. Okay.
95.
I will say, and I don't know, you guys might be able to speak about this, but I have to defend this a little bit. Chris O'Donnell at the time was a hot commodity.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was very popular. He had done, like, I remember he did Circle of Friends. He did a few other films that were very, very popular. And because I know everyone's thinking back now, like, Chris O'Donnell, who the hell is that?
NCIS LA.
What is he doing now?
I don't know
One
if
of
it's
the-
on
yeah, one of those.
NCIS.
Oh, is he?
Los Angeles.
Okay,
Very,
well, good for
very
him.
big on it, yeah.
But he was a huge movie star at the time, and like if you think about this, at the time you had George Clooney, who was an up and coming actor. He was on ER.
Yep.
He was a big heartthrob. You had Chris O'Donnell, who was also a heartthrob. You had Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was still a major like action star. Like he had done, I think his last big action movie before that was Eraser about 2 or 3 years ago, and he was still very popular.
He got top billing.
And Uma Thurman, who was 3 years off Pulp Fiction. So this was like a major, like, wow, look at all these big stars. So I want to defend the movie a little bit for its casting choices because for the time period it came out as, it was very,
it all made sense.
It made sense.
And you got Batman Forever, where they introduced Chris O'Donnell as Dick Grayson. Val Kilmer was an upcoming, like he was successful too. Like you had Top Gun, you had movies like that. They just did a big documentary on Val Kilmer.
Val. It's on streaming on Amazon Prime. I've heard it's amazing. I can't wait to see
what's
it.
really interesting is originally they wanted Marlon Wayans to play Dick Grayson. He was even I'm dead serious. He was contracted to do it. They actually bought him out of that contract, very similar to Billy D. Williams as Harvey
I've heard
Dent.
that. Yeah, he's still receiving checks, I believe.
He got money. They paid him out for that.
That's fun.
Yeah. So, and even more interesting, right now they have the Batman '89 comic book series going on, where Billy D. Williams as Harvey Dent is Two-Face, and so they took the Schumacher-Burton universe and cut it in half, basically, where Batman and Batman Returns take place technically on Earth 89, but then Forever and Batman and Robin take place on Earth 97.
Interesting.
So these are all like new things, and now obviously with Michael Keaton reprising his role of Batman, I'm very curious to see if we're going to get some sort of mention of Robin in the new movie.
Michael, and
I'm sure we will.
I don't know, because Michael Keaton never had a Robin.
He was supposed to.
Yeah.
Marlon Wayans
Right.
was supposed to be
Right.
his Robin, and currently in the comic books, which is technically continuity, he does. But I would like just a shrine, a very like, because one of my favorite shots in Batman vs Superman is when he put Bruce Wayne has the memorial to Robin
All right.
at the entrance of the Batcave. So anytime he walks into the Batcave, he has to walk
He has
by
a
it.
reminder.
The Robin shrine to Jason Todd is a very powerful and very long lasting, like to the point where they kept it even after Jason Todd was revived.
Yeah.
Like they still have that in the Batcave on memorial for him.
I'm just still trying
Speaking
to
of
wrap
Jason
my
Todd-
head around a Wayne's brother being
Yeah.
a superhero
Oh, yeah,
film.
yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, speaking of Jason Todd,
We'll jump right into
Oh,
Jason
all right.
Todd.
He's our
so,
number
He
two.
is our second Robin.
So after Dick Grayson moved on and became Nightwing, which if you have not seen
Well, did he become Nightwing before he joined? Because from my understanding, all right, see, all of my understanding is now coming from Titans. He joined
He
Young
joins-
Justice as Robin?
he joined
Yes.
all those other teams as Robin and then took over those teams as Nightwing.
Okay, so when Jason Todd came in, was he Nightwing or was he still Robin?
He was actually kicked off from being Robin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I believe in the comic books it was Two-Face that beat him almost to death in front of Batman
Okay.
while Batman was like captured or tied up and was trying to escape, and he would not allow Dick Grayson to be Robin anymore.
Okay.
So Robin decided to take off and become his own hero. Took the name Nightwing, inspired by a Kryptonian superhero. Superman actually gave him the name in the comic books. And Jason Todd was introduced. Now, at first, Jason Todd was a carbon copy of Dick Grayson.
Oh, hold on.
Yep.
Back up. How did he first discover Jason Todd?
No,
Sorry.
no.
I'm jumping the gun.
Pre-retcon,
All right.
he actually was an acrobat at the circus.
Yes.
Like they had him. He was literally
Okay.
The same.
You know
carbon
more about
copy.
this than I do, so go
Yeah.
ahead.
So they did I want to say it was after, it might have been after Crisis or when they ended up redoing.
Because I heard that his first
Yeah.
introduction was he was stealing the wheels off the Batmobile.
After the
Yes.
1985 limited series Crisis on Infinite Earths, DC rebooted the character, and that's when they changed him into, yes, he was stealing the tires
off the
Timey,
Batmobile.
whiny shenanigans.
Crisis on Infinite Earths. But yeah, he was literally he was a carbon copy at one point.
Yeah.
And
Circus
he-
acrobat that had his parents die.
But after the New
Killed.
52, then he...
Crisis. New 52 was like 4 years ago.
All right, so after... these timelines.
Since Crisis on Infinite Earth, they changed Jason Todd's backstory to him being an orphan,
Right.
that was stealing the tires off of.
Well,
the
not even an
Batmobile.
orphan. An orphan in the sense that he was abandoned.
Well, yes.
Yes, that his father was dead and his mother was an alcoholic, I believe.
Yes, because in the comics, his mother sells him out to the Joker. So basically what happens is Jason Todd gets introduced, and he was not very well liked after they rebooted him.
He
'Cause-
was so angsty.
Yeah, he was definitely a very...
Angsty teen.
Yeah. I mean, he first came out in the 80s, so it was like during that time of that rebellious phase, like the big hair, heavy metal type phase, before the over-armored phase of the 90s where everybody was buff and wearing armor and all that. So they introduced him, and he was despised. Like they did not like him at all. So DC held an event called A Death in the Family.
Well, hold on. Yes, go ahead.
So in that event, they did a 900 number where you could vote.
Okay, now you guys might be too young to remember the 900 numbers.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you-
This
yeah,
is
okay.
88.
I remember.
This,
I remember
this,
the
this was
800s.
very much an 80s thing.
Oh, it was
in the
1988.
80s, we had 976 numbers and we had 1900 numbers, and these were numbers you could call. Well, the 976-3636. If you called that number, you could talk to Santa, and it was something like $2 a minute. So little kids would call Santa and parents would be like, "What's this $50 charge on my phone bill?" And it was because they were calling Santa. They set up this 1-900 number, and those were very popular back then. And they were expensive. It was like $2 for the first minute and $3.95 each additional minute. Like, it was a lot.
Oh, I don't like it. Sounds like something I should do after 10 o'clock at night, if you know
Yeah,
what I mean.
right.
But so they introduced Jason Todd, and he was very highly disliked. People just didn't like him. He just didn't gel well. And more recent retellings of the character, they show him being
Annoying.
I remember Melanie and I were watching Titans, and when they first introduced Jason Todd, she hated him.
I'm in the middle of watching Titans, and I hate him right now.
But
and I think
I'm
I'm hoping he dies.
Well, no, the end of season 2,
Yeah.
you feel for Jason.
Oh, he's still alive by the end of season 2? Oh, damn it.
So,
Right? I just
But-
left off, and he just was plummeting off a building. He survives that?
oh yeah, it's a great way he survives too. But that is mild spoilers for season 2 of Titans. But that event is the catalyst that starts his change.
Okay, I'm looking forward to
Apparently, almost dying has a lasting effect,
All right.
and that's one of the best things about Titans. They really deal with the post-traumatic stress of this world of heroes.
Yeah.
Especially
that
for the young
seems
heroes.
to be the big thing. I know I bash Snyder, but he seems to cover that quite a bit, and I think he ushered that in a little bit.
And I think Titans, I won't say perfected it, but they made
It's
it
better
better.
than Snyder.
Well, you know what? Also, like, Zack Snyder had ideas about Robin, and basically, and unfortunately, like, for Snyder, he has to tell you about all this stuff because he's never going to get the chance to talk
Right.
to show it. Like, we're done with that. But he specifically says that Batman's the way he is in Batman vs Superman because Robin died.
And that makes sense, considering especially
Yeah.
like is it the Dark Knight Rises? No, sorry, the comic book, the one where Batman is older and he's
The Dark Knight Returns.
Returns. That's it.
Well,
Okay,
that's why he stopped being Batman because
Yeah.
Jason Todd died.
Please read if you get a
Spoilers.
chance. If
We
you
didn't
get a
get to
chance,
that part of talking
listeners,
about Jason Todd.
Please read Dark Knight Returns. It is such a fantastic. I believe it's Frank Miller too. Comic.
Don't read the sequels.
No. So back to our topic.
That's what we're talking
We're
about.
talking-
No, you guys started talking about Titans.
1-900.
So
Talking
anyway,
about Jason Todd.
So
God.
So
the
Jason
1-900 number.
So basically, they held a vote for 36 hours.
I have numbers here.
Oh, I bet you do.
Yeah.
I do too. But it was a very close margin, and there is some debate as to the accuracy of
Yeah.
it.
Now, I should also say that they they created 2 panels. One showing Batman going, "Oh, Jason Todd, I can't believe you're dead." The other one going, "He's alive, everybody!" And they weren't sure which one they were going to go to until the results of this 1-900 came in.
So it did end up being kill Jason Todd, and in one of the-
5,343 votes to kill him against 5,271 not to kill him. 72 of you, because of you, voted. Because 72 people voted to kill him, he died.
which is ironic because I don't ever condone death, but unfortunately the death of Jason Todd made him a better character. He would come back as the Red Hood, but we're not going to talk too much about the Red Hood because this is still a Robin episode. Mm-hmm. But we have Nightwing and Red Hood as Robins that changed and evolved, and arguably two sides of very similar coins.
Yes.
Now, moving forward, we have arguably, as much as I like Dick Grayson is my favorite as Nightwing. My favorite Robin was always Tim Drake.
Mm-hmm. I've heard a lot of love about Tim Drake over the past couple days.
Well, for Tim Drake, they wanted to reintroduce Robin because he hadn't been in it. Like he was missing in action basically, and they wanted to do it better than Jason Todd. So instead of kind of creating Batman taking in this orphan, Tim Drake goes out of his way to impress Batman. He figures out who Batman and Robin are. Every Robin has something that they're incredibly good at. Dick Grayson is considered one of the best strategic tacticians and leaders in the DC universe, to the point where even Batman will have him running teams.
Yes.
Jason Todd is considered one of the best firearms users in DC. He is the Punisher of the DC universe.
Yeah.
Tim Drake is considered one of the greatest minds in the DC universe.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's
Even
one of the
Batman says he's a better detective than I ever was.
And Ra's al Ghul himself will refer to Tim Drake as detective, typically a phrase he only uses for Batman.
Now, was Tim Drake the one that recognized Dick Grayson's quadruple
somersault?
And he's like, oh, that guy, I've seen that before. That's Robin, and that was Dick Grayson. Because Tim Drake was actually was he at the Grayson's death?
No, I think he might have been at the circus when it happened.
Okay,
and
so
then
he's seen the Graysons in action.
He was in the audience, and he managed like watching news footage. He was a Batman fanboy.
Yeah, very much so.
And using his own intelligence, he was able to figure it out.
What's most admirable about Tim Drake is that he was someone that he saw Robin and he saw Batman and he said, I want to be like that, and he worked hard. And it's that old adage of, and I heard Kevin Hart say this the other day, hard work beats talent every day.
Yes.
And he's someone that worked really, really, really hard to be the best that he possibly could, and he was. He became better than all of them as a result of just rigor and determination.
Just like Ronnie.
Oh, yeah, you know it.
But Tim Drake he got Nightwing's blessing before he even got Batman's. Like, he was just that impressive. They just introduced him on Titans. He was really cool
in season 3.
In season 3,
okay. Young Justice,
not there.
Young Justice. They gave him a much bigger role in season 3, where he's actually running
the team, right?
not like the Batman
or
secret team,
like the B team or whatever kind of.
Yeah. Young Justice season 3 is very confusing.
Yes,
great show.
Yeah. All right, hold on. I need help. What's the difference between Young Justice and Teen Titans?
So Young Justice is the TV show is a team of superheroes that work under the radar. They're a covert team.
That's Young Justice.
That's Young Justice. Okay. Because basically
which characters are in
the original lineup was Robin, Dick Grayson, Aqualad, Kid Flash, Miss Martian, Superboy, and Artemis.
Yes.
Okay. And they work under the radar.
They work under the radar because in this universe, superheroes are a very brand new commodity. They're almost like celebrities.
Are they in the same universe that Batman exists?
Oh yeah, like all the like the main.
You have like the Justice League, and then
all
it's like
new to me.
It's like Justice League, and then under them for like low level under the radar stuff is the Young Justice.
Because all eyes are on Batman, Superman. Like everybody's like, oh my god, so. It makes it easier for them to send these kids out, basically, on covert missions.
Teen Titans is sort of a Nightwing.
Teen Titans was a club, basically, that the Sidekicks made.
Okay.
So they kind of made their own club because they were stuck with each other for a lot of the time. Batman didn't take Robin on some missions.
Okay.
So like the Sidekicks were just waiting back at the base.
And then Teen Titans Go.
It's stupid.
I loved waffles.
I like the idea of Teen Titans Go. I don't have a problem with it. I was such a big fan of Teen Titans, and Teen Titans delved into some big issues.
And I understand Teen Titans Go was a reboot.
It was a reboot, but they brought back the entire original cast
and made it goofy.
And made it a goofy joke, and it was heartbreaking. If you were like a big fan of Teen Titans,
you all must have been so pissed.
Same.
Because I love Teen Titans Go. I think it's I went to the movies to see that movie.
I did too.
Oh my god, it was a riot.
Well done. But I don't like the way they do that.
Waffles.
Now, getting into some, Tim Drake also would eventually go on to be his own superhero called Red Robin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yum.
Dang it. But so Tim Drake, again, another character that grows into his own and really kind of becomes his own character.
And the reason he's Red Robin is because of Superboy.
Sorry.
Not only because of Superboy, but because when Batman, quote unquote, dies and Dick Grayson takes over the role, he tells Tim Drake, he's like, I don't want you to be my Robin. You are better than... You're not my Robin. You are your own hero. Like, you've earned it.
Yeah.
So... And now he's come into the spotlight again for not only being in Titan Season 3, but also is coming out as bisexual. Which... Who cares? Like, whatever.
That really doesn't matter.
But now, moving on, we have...
Loki did it first.
Because it's Marvel. But moving on, we have Stephanie Brown. Now, Stephanie Brown was a Robin that I was not super...
Well, because she was so short-lived, from my understanding.
Very short-lived. The daughter of a criminal who took on the role of Spoiler, and basically she took on the name Spoiler
Yeah,
because she wanted to spoil her father's plans.
every time I hear that, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't listen. Oh, wait, spoiler's the name.
Yeah, that's right up there with calling her daddy issues. Like, basically, she became a vigilante to get her dad in trouble with the law, like to bring him to justice.
And if I remember correctly, Batman like dismissed her after like not following directions during 2 different like things.
Unfortunately, what happened was, well, first she also did become a love interest for Tim Drake. She did take on the mantle of Batgirl at one point, but there was a little bit of controversy when they killed her off.
They killed her off?
Steph,
I don't think I knew that.
They killed her off, and the fans backlash so hard that they retconned it and faked her death
after Flashpoint.
Yeah, so like there was a lot of controversy about it. Yeah, pretty much. But she's gone from Spoiler to Robin, and then back to Spoiler, and then she took on the role as Batgirl.
Yeah,
like she's a very lasting character nowadays.
Okay.
Now, one that is not in the main continuity, but I really wanted to bring up was Carrie Kelly. Ronnie, have you seen either the Dark Knight Returns movies or read the novel?
I have not read the novel.
Did you see either of the movies? They have the part 1 and part 2.
No.
Okay. I've just read the graphic novel, yeah.
So, Maze, have you read
Maze.
anything?
Maze just wandered into the studio.
We should have named Maze Robin.
Our cat.
Maze, what's your thoughts on Robin?
I like
meow,
Batman.
meow, 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 meow.
I like Catwoman. All right, Maze.
Enough about the Catwoman.
She's not a real cat, Maze.
Producer Melanie's on it.
Producer Melanie's on it.
All right, Carrie Kelly was someone that I only knew from The Dark Knight Returns, which is one of my favorite graphic novels.
So Carrie Kelly
she's a 13-year-old girl.
Yep.
All right, I got to stop here. Hold on. Is the idea that Batman keeps adopting and mentoring 13-year-olds to kill and live with him a little bit creepy at times?
All right, so
no, because he has money and he's trying to give them a home.
For Batman, now
isn't that what you're supposed to do with orphans?
Yeah, but
billionaire orphan?
Yeah, but he's training them to be murderers.
Okay, for the record,
he's not.
No, he's not.
All right, sorry. Yes, that's true.
To be
no,
vigilantes.
Batman does not kill.
That depends on the Batman.
Yeah.
But for Batman, and there's been thousands of studies about Batman and the psychology of Batman, and there was always people used to really call out the dynamic between the dynamic duo.
Yeah.
But between Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson, especially, like at some points they like shared beds in the comics. Like it got weird.
What?
There is an image,
Really?
a very famous image of the two of them sharing like this gigantic bed. But for a person, and Titan season 3 episode 1 completely dives into the idea of Batman being so codependent on a Robin, desperately needing a Robin to the point where like he starts breaking down and asking Dick Grayson, can you be Robin again?
But why does he keep asking these small children to live with him? It's creepy.
Because growing up, he never had someone.
Even worse, he sees himself and all. So there's a great line.
It's addressed in the Lego Batman movie when she says, is he your son? Because it's creepier if he's not.
Yeah.
You think adoption's creepy?
I think continuous adoption of 13-year-old children to turn them into like vigilantes is, yes.
Batman, it's a psychological condition with Batman. He needs a Robin, and that is a part of his personality. Yeah. Now, Young Justice does a great line when the Justice League itself is having a meeting about expanding the team, and they bring up the character like the Sidekicks, and whether or not they're of age. Well, actually, they bring up Captain Marvel, or Shazam, as he's more commonly known now, because it was at this point that they found out that he was actually a 10-year-old boy.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And Batman defends it, and he's like, I knew the whole time. They're like, what? You didn't say anything. He's like, not my business. He earned his spot here. And Wonder Woman calls him out. And he's like, and she says something, I'm going to paraphrase. She's like, well, of course you wouldn't have the problem having indoctrinated Robin at the tender age of 9. And Batman says, Robin needed to bring the man who killed his parents to justice. And to which Wonder Woman replies, why? So he would end up like you? And Batman says, so he wouldn't. Batman sees himself. The idea is, another great Batman or Justice League the animated show. I'm sure you guys are both familiar at some point.
Yes. Oh yeah, that one I do know. I've seen a couple episodes.
There's an episode where Batman and Batman from Another World, where the Justice League took over, are fighting. And the Batman from the other world is trying to justify it, where at one point he finally says, so that another 9-year-old will never lose his parents due to some punk with a gun. Okay. Batman takes his damaged psyche and imposes it on there's a word for it. It's going to drive me crazy, but basically he
transference.
I think that's it. Yeah,
okay.
he's transferring himself into those, and he sees himself and he sees these kids that finally have. They all are there for an opportunity for justice in some way, shape, or form. So for him, I'm not saying it's healthy, and I'm not saying it's right, but I understand how his mind works in that regards. But and also it's like Ronnie said, he's a billionaire. Like he's in his world, he thinks he's helping people and creating heroes.
I get the idea of like Dick Grayson and even Jason Todd, because he's helping them to. He doesn't want them to fall to the same, pitfalls that he fell to.
Yeah.
But now that we're starting to see like Carrie Kelly and like even Tim Drake, like it just seems a little like, I don't know, why couldn't you get someone a little older?
Well, for Tim Drake and Carrie Kelly both earned his respect.
Yeah.
Carrie Kelly saves his life. Like
she's still a 13-year-old girl.
So was Hit Girl.
Who didn't have parents.
Like he's training.
Well, she did.
Well, she did, but they neglected her.
And take this with for what it's intended. He's training little children to be fighters, and it almost seems sort of Nazi-esque.
Which is weird because I think Bucky Barnes was too young to actually fight in the war.
Yeah, well, the Bucky Barnes thing is another. Well, that clearly was the Nazis.
Yeah, but in all honesty, the problem is they took a very simple concept, like what if we gave him a kid sidekick, and then it's only now in more recent years that people like us sitting in our basement recording studio are dissecting.
Well, I think if they were to. Well, I think that's why they're looking at Robin now in a different light, and they're seeing him as older. As even back in '95, when they cast Chris O'Donnell, they're like, we can't do a child. I think because it would have been weird.
But and then you watch a movie like Kick-Ass, where Hit Girl is the runaway star of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what they did well with that was they made her the impetus for him becoming Kick-Ass. Like, she was the one that was the main thrust of why things were happening, because she wanted revenge for her father.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And Kick-Ass in fact, I think Kick-Ass was almost sort of the sidekick in that.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. Kick-Ass is not the main hero of Kick-Ass, but. We got to do that movie at some point.
We really do.
But Carrie Kelly was a great addition, and to the point where she's had lasting impact. They've made references to her. They put her in the New 52. In DC Rebirth, they mention her. Like she's been around since, but otherwise, like she was very a one-off kind of character.
Yeah.
Excuse me, kind of character. But I read originally in Batman vs Superman, they were saying Jenna Malone was supposed to be Carrie Kelly or Oracle. But,
oh, okay.
But unfortunately. Apparently, Carrie Kelly is in Batman vs Superman. Do you know who she is?
Who?
During the nightmare sequence, that's the female soldier that's helping Batman.
Okay.
Supposedly, that is actually that is Carrie Kelly.
Now you're talking about the original nightmare sequence.
I want to say it's the
not the
ultimate,
one with the Joker.
Yeah, and Batman vs Superman, not Justice League.
Oh.
Yeah, so I think that was when they said again all these really cool details because Zack Snyder's a big fan of.
He is very geeky. I will give that to him.
Yes. I mean, just to put the Dark Knight Returns Batmobile in the Snyder Cut, big moves. Now that's the main Robins. Now this is where it gets a little bit of fun because
I was like, wait, there's one more.
Fun, the word we're gonna throw around.
Fun is the word we're gonna look around. You know what? Because I'm gonna say Holy Robins in other television shows. Okay. Batman. Now,
Damian Wayne.
So sorry. You're right.
I thought that's where you were going.
No.
Okay.
Well, Damian Wayne. You know what?
Yeah, don't forget Damian.
Yeah. Damian's another character that people hated when he first came out. Mm-hmm. Damian Wayne was arrogant, abrasive. He was more vicious than Batman ever was.
Well, that's because he's got some Al Ghul in him.
He was Batman. He was Bruce Wayne's DNA, right?
Talia.
I heard Talia al Ghul stole some of Bruce Wayne's DNA, and he's
in the biblical sense.
Oh, never mind.
She drugged and had her way with him.
Oh, I got that wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
I knew there was some DNA in there.
Yeah, Talia
All
al
the
Ghul.
DNA. Sorry, half the DNA.
So Talia al Ghul and Batman have had a very long romantic history in the comics.
Talia al Ghul being the
daughter of Raj. If you ask the creators, they say we don't know. But I always said Ra's al Ghul because that was how they said it in Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah, I like that.
And then it's more Ra's al Ghul in more recent years. But she facilitated a rendezvous between the two of them against Batman's knowledge, because she does drug him, and they do have, you know, coitus, as Shelton says.
Coitus.
But and it does
coituses.
Coituses. That
Is that
means
a plural?
Means more than once.
You only need to do.
All it takes is one time.
I believe I'm the only one in this room that can attest to that.
Oh,
Since
Ronnie
I'm
just
the
doesn't
only
talk.
one here with a child.
Well, Ronnie, but I have a cat
So
upstairs.
what about Damian Wayne? No,
Just kidding.
Just kidding, everyone.
Just kidding.
I mean,
But,
granted, the only one that really matters is the fiance, but she doesn't.
Where
listen.
did we go just now?
So
Yeah.
Talia has a son in secret, and he's raised by the League of Assassins.
Yes.
And when they introduce him, he's an assassin. He's a killer. To the point where when Dick Grayson takes over as Batman and he's the Robin, the dynamic shifts completely. Where Batman's the one holding Robin in check instead of vice versa. Damian is a fantastic character. If you haven't read any of his stuff, he grows, he changes, he really evolves. He's great with the Titans. He's amazing in what he does. They do the animated stuff with they did Teen Titans versus the Justice League, and then Apocalypse War. Damian Wayne steals it. He is fantastic.
Yes.
So if you are a Robin fan, Damian Wayne is not only is he worthy, but apparently he does take on the mantle of Batman.
Is he where
We're
the
not
majority
worthy.
of the DC Comics is at right now?
I
Yes.
think they killed him for a little
Oh, they did?
while, and he
Okay.
did come back.
All right.
He came
But-
back with Darkseid's Chaos Shard.
I haven't read much
Look
recent
at Ronnie.
DC.
Ronnie
Wait, say
dropping
that again?
knowledge. Wow.
So he came back to life. Batman went on a mission to get Darkseid's Chaos Shard. To,
What is a
to
Chaos Shard?
To resurrect him. You know, the thing that powers Darkseid.
He wasn't that ready.
I'm not that ready, but no, it's the thing that kind of powers Darkseid.
Okay.
I will also say that Damian has my favorite Robin costume. As much as I love
The
Tim
black-
Drake, he has it's
Yeah.
almost like a
His
ninja.
pants.
Well, Tim Drake actually started the pants of
Yeah.
Robin.
Okay.
Both Dick Grayson and Jason Todd had the booties.
It's almost like a colorful ninja
it's like
outfit.
It's a tunic almost,
Yeah.
like ninja robes, and it's
This is Damien?
This is Damian.
Damian,
He also
yes.
started the hood with his mask.
No.
So he has a hooded cape, and he carries a sword.
Yeah.
So there's that. But he's really cool in what they've done with him, and I really enjoy his death and his return and how they've kind of made him. He's grown. Like, he was even younger as Robin. I think he was like 10 and killing people. No big deal. So, yeah, Damian Wayne, I hate to say it, might be as much as I love Tim Drake. I like all these other Robins as other characters, but as Robin, Damian Wayne always brought a certain
Gravitas.
terrifying gravitas. And especially he's the son of
Talia.
Talia and Batman. Like,
yeah.
that's a badass combination.
Oh, yeah.
But so we're gonna wrap up that part of our conversation with those are the main Robins, the Robins that we really wanted to address, and now we get to have some fun. I messed this up before, Batman.
Holy cannoli, Batman.
Holy cannoli.
Holy rusted metal, Batman.
That's still one of my favorite lines.
The ground, it's filled with holes and rust.
It's all metal. It's full of holes, you know. Holy. So we're going to talk a little bit about Robin in live action and animation and in the public lexicon, as it were.
Okay.
Most people, it was Burt Ward in 1966. We still say holy whatever. I mean, I think the episode title should be Holy Robin Batman.
Yeah, right?
Holy Boy Wonder Batman. But Burt Ward is such an endearing Robin, and I still love watching. I used to do it as a kid. I'd walk around and do like the knuckle in the hand thing, because that's
Yeah.
all he did.
And I might add that Burt Ward is still alive.
He was in Crisis on Infinite Earths.
He was
Yeah.
born in 1945, so you do the math to see how old he is.
7.
Really?
I went to Mayapack.
5 and 21.
Really?
76.
And he was in what did he say? Holy Crimson Skies of Death.
Yes. in a Flash.
with Ace the Bat Hound. He was walking around.
He's not that old either. Well, I guess being Robin, you're young in 1966.
In 1966. But Burt Ward really solidified a lot of things about Robin. You know, say what you will about the costumes in that, his was completely comic accurate. As much as we love Adam West's
Even in
Batman,
Crisis.
Even in he still wear the costume. That's or wear the
colors of it. Yeah,
the colors. Oh god, that was great. And what was that? Earth 66 when they played the theme.
Yep.
I gotta rewatch Crisis on Infinite Earths. There's so many fun.
We should do an episode on that.
Yeah.
Too soon.
We should re-record that episode.
It was so good too.
Yeah,
that was when I first theorized that Grant Gustin was going to be in the Flash movie. Do you need me to pause or
no? You're good. I'm telling you, I don't think I did. I recorded that with you guys.
You did?
Did I?
You did. You were there.
I don't even remember who records with us tonight.
I know, right? I thought Melanie was recording this whole time.
Yeah. Where'd she go?
If we were doing a Bedazzled episode, she would definitely be here. Yeah.
Wait,
we're gonna bedazzle
I'm sorry.
our episodes?
Wait, bedazzled as in
Brendan Fraser and Elizabeth Hurley.
Really?
We love that movie.
The remake of Bedazzled?
Oh, that's one of our guilty pleasures.
Really?
I do like that movie.
The most sensitive man in the world.
And then I just stopped and wept. But so focus. Yeah, I'm working on it. But you started it. I don't even know who I was recording with tonight.
Let's not point fingers. Let's just get back on track.
I didn't point my finger. I threw my hand aggressively in the air in his general direction. But Burt Ward
it was
really...
a batarang. It was so weird.
So strange. You know, it's iconic having Burt Ward and Adam West climbing up the building and, you know, all the quips. And basically he was just there for Batman to exposition and do all the science talk with.
Yeah.
Now, moving forward, we had Chris O'Donnell, which we did mention as Robin is still... they even make fun of it. They're like, how about Dick Grayson college students? Like, why are you lit? That's even creepier. I think that's even weirder than Batman adopting
a 19-year-old getting adopted.
Billionaire adopts 19-year-old orphan. That's weirder for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't, like, even Alfred was probably sitting there going, Bruce.
I just have to say yes, master to him.
Ronnie, what did you think of Chris O'Donnell as Robin, though? / I would even argue as Nightwing, he kind of is more Nightwing.
Yeah, that was my thought. Like, he's more of a Nightwing just because of age-wise. They should have done that, but then I guess you can't have it called Batman and Robin. But again, to me, it was just the age thing. I think they should have and could have went with someone younger. I'm not saying he had to be a 9-year-old or a 13-year-old, but somebody that is
at
still
least looked younger.
It looked younger and is actually like known as an orphan, because once you're 18, you're an adult. You're not an orphan
Chris
anymore.
O'Donnell. I wonder how old was he when he?
Oh, he had to have been like 25, 26.
Yeah.
And that's lowballing.
Yeah.
Like, if you have to shave before putting on the Robin suit, he got some.
He didn't even shave.
I will say though that the Robin suit in Batman Forever was real. Like, they were able to actually bring that costume to the big screen and make it look semi-believable. I really like, and I love it. He's like, "Who's your tailor?" And Alfred's like, "Yo, me." But Alfred was the one really, like, you know.
Chris O'Donnell was 27 in that.
Yeah. But what does Alfred say? He said he has a line in it about Robin, because like Bruce calls him out. He's like, "You're encouraging him," and he says, "Young man with like a mind for vengeance need guidance." Basically, that's major paraphrasing. And then he calls out Bruce. He's like, "You above everybody else should know."
Yeah.
But it's cheesy, it's corny, it's super dated, and
I like the rubber lips he has.
Even worse,
wax lips.
The wax lips, yeah.
He does say rubber though. In Ronnie's defense, he does say the rubber lips. But I love how he's still this close to Poison Ivy. He's like, she just had to kiss him again. He's like, let me take. It's like taking off your bulletproof vest and be like, you shot me, but it didn't work.
He was good enough. He was fine.
Serviceable.
He was a B+ Robin. He's fine.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see him as Nightwing, but unfortunately, it was a victim of the scripts, especially for the second one.
Yeah.
Now, I know this wasn't on the list, but I'm going to bring it up just because another very famous Robin was Lauren Lester, who played Dick Grayson, the animated series. The animated series was very strange in how involved Robin was. It wasn't until the last 15 episodes that they started calling it The Adventures of Batman and Robin. And then it wasn't until they revamped the series and called it The New Batman Adventures that they introduced not only Nightwing, but also
Tim Drake,
who they kind of amalgamated Tim Drake and Jason Todd into one character. I really enjoyed Robin. Again, though, he was way too old to be Robin.
Yeah.
Why is he still living with that? Well, actually, scratch that. If I was living with a billionaire, like,
I wouldn't want to move
Yeah,
out
I know,
either.
right?
Yeah,
Especially if you have a butler.
I would pretend to be 13 too.
Yep. I'm playing with my Legos, Bruce.
Happy 13th birthday
Speaking of
again
Legos.
to me.
Yep. Speaking of Legos, I thought you'd like that segue.
Michael Cera.
Michael Cera as but just one quick thing on
yeah.
Lauren Lester and all that, because I know I segued and now I'm backtracking. Sorry.
Boo.
Got so excited. But there is an episode of the New Batman Adventures where Nightwing is telling Tim Drake the story of why he stopped being Robin. It is a fantastic episode, and it does end with Robin punching Batman in the face.
Nice. That's a good ending.
Yeah, it was great. But
Michael Cera.
Michael Cera was such an unexpected joy.
Yeah.
They did such a great job with Batman and Robin.
We have
Yes.
secret camera.
Oh God, I can't. Somebody talk.
That's
And-
the only
and-
way we could get Michael Cera as Robin. You cannot have him as live action.
What
so
is the
it was just great.
superhero rule on cookies? Unlimited.
Oh, Michael Cera.
The Lego Batman movie is by far one of the best superhero movies of all time.
Yes.
It is a
It
love
understands
letter.
Batman better than other Batman movies. Yeah.
Easy. But
Then be fighting woods.
it is one of the best deep dives into not only Batman as a character, but also his relationship with the Bat family.
These pants are so tight.
Rip. Come on, Batman, let's get to it. Please stop.
I can only look you in the eyes right now.
And they do acknowledge the Nightwing persona in it, which
Yep.
I didn't like because they didn't just give him the Nightwing
Did
costume.
they? What'd they do?
They get when he puts on the costume at the end where he's like trying to be like Batman.
Yeah.
It's called the Nightwing costume, but it doesn't look like the Nightwing costume. Like, they could have had some fun with that.
I wonder if they just legally couldn't get it, maybe?
It's Warner Brothers; they own all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But that was Lego Batman movie is also a great example of
Let's
what
make fun of ourselves.
Well, not even that. Like, nowadays, we watch Space Jam: A New Legacy crap, and they jam-packed jammed it down your throat, all the Warner Brothers references.
Oh, really? I didn't see it.
Like,
I
the Iron
refuse.
Giant and King Kong fist bump at one point. So that should tell you everything you need to know about this movie, because that's the new thing now. It's like, look at our shared universe.
My soul just hurt.
Yeah. So to have the Lego Batman movie where it all makes sense and it's all funny and it's all in good
Yeah.
fun, it's just such a joy. And Michael Cera, I would never think to say Michael Cera
Yeah.
As Robin.
was one of the best Robins.
Yeah.
Now, going down the list, talking about Titans, we have Brenton Thwaites and Curran Walters both portraying Robin. At one point, there is, for the first time ever, two Robins on screen at the same time. And one of the coolest things about it was they fight alongside each other, and you get to see how vicious Jason Todd is,
Right.
and how unhinged he is compared to Dick Grayson. I think they're fighting police officers that are trying to stop them, because they're not in Gotham, where Robin's like a celebrity in Gotham. They established very early on in Titans that they're like, we don't want Robin here, because if Robin comes, then the crazy comes, and the Batman comes, and all that stuff. But Rob, you've been watching Titans. What are your thoughts on Dick Grayson and Jason Todd in that show?
I actually have to say that I really, really, really like what is his name again? It is Brenton. How do you say that?
Brenton Thwaites, I believe.
Thwaites. I really like him. I think he's a thoughtful Robin. I think he's got some good. As an actor, he's good with dealing with a lot of the psychological issues that comes with being Robin. The guy who's playing Jason Todd, if he's playing it that way, good job, because I absolutely can't stand that character in that actor. They're very distinct Robins from one another, which is neat. But Brenton Thwaites is I have to say, right now, he is, for me, the definitive Robin.
I can agree with that. And Curran Walters, like I said, I don't want to give too much away.
Is that Jason Todd?
That's Jason Todd.
Okay.
Because the rest of the characters don't like him either. Like that's
No.
even to the point where Bruce Wayne is kind of like
He's annoying.
he's annoying, he's
impulsive.
arrogant. Yeah, and that's part of his game. So when you get to the ramifications of, like, literally telling me where you are, the ramifications of what happens to him changes the entire show.
Okay.
And changes Jason, and there was things to redeem about him. At the point that we're at in Titan season 3, he is completely beyond redemption. The thing that he did, so basically Titan season 3 released 3 episodes. Barbara Gordon, Red Hood, because they always name them after whatever character they're really focusing on.
Oh, okay.
So if you look at the episode titles for Titans, it's always like
I'm in the
Dick
Connor
Grayson.
episode,
Yeah.
so all right, that makes sense.
So it was Barbara Gordon, Red Hood, Hank, and Dove, because they keep changing around Hawk and Dove and Hank and Dawn, like, so switching it around. The end of episode 3, producer Melanie and I were, I think we were shocked at the end of season the 3rd episode.
Okay.
Shocked by Jason and what he does.
I will say there, Titans does some things really, really well. It does some things really, really awfully too, and we will discuss that when we discuss Titans. But I will say that the use of Brenton Thwaites and Jason Todd, that actor, are very. They do a great job in the series, and it's neat to see the character arcs of those characters.
Now, I know Ronnie's excited about this because he does love the show. Jesse McCartney, of all people.
Yeah, right?
Robin / Nightwing in
Young Justice.
In Young Justice.
Jesse
McCartney was a
little. He was the original Justin Bieber.
Yeah, he was a very Justin Bieber-esque.
That's how I know that name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Roddy, thoughts on... we'll talk a little bit about Tim Drake, and they did just... In the very end of Season 3 of Young Justice, they did... They had mentioned Jason Todd, but then they just showed that he was alive.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jesse McCartney.
Well, nothing... I don't know. I mean, it's not like you'd be like, oh, he was great. But
He shouldn't have been good in this show.
No.
I find him super quotable.
Yes. He very quotable, very likable character in Young Justice. Kind of the leader. He was the leader of all of them. Co-leader, kind of.
It was an interesting dynamic because he tried to be.
Yes.
And when he tried to be, they realized that he wasn't.
No.
And then it wasn't until he grew.
It was almost like one of those, he's better as a leader when he's not a leader. Mm-hmm. Like when he's trying to be a leader, he's trying too hard. But when he's just like, I'm one of you type of people, it's like, now we will follow you because now you're not like this egotistical person, that's trying to run everything. He was also
the youngest, but also the most famous of the sidekicks in Young Justice. He was 13 when the show starts, and it was Batman and Robin. Like he was the most well-known of the sidekicks, so he immediately thought he was going to just be the leader of their little team. But I really enjoy... He plays with words in the show, so it's like sometimes he's like, well, I'm not really overwhelmed, but I'm not underwhelmed, so I think I'm just whelmed.
Yeah.
So like they do all those words and phrases, and to the point where they took a phrase from Young Justice and put it in the Flash this season. Totally crash. Yep, totally crash. And Shui from Batman Begins.
Yep.
Or not Batman Begins, excuse me, Batman Beyond. So
Shui.
I really, when they said Jesse McCartney, like we all were like, what?
What? Yeah.
The singer?
But then again, it's just like you just need a voice, and then just back then, again, he was like the original Justin Bieber. Nothing really happened musically like it did for Justin Bieber, but
he faded into
but so it was like a big name to kind of attach to the show.
Local boy too, from what I'm reading here. He's born in Ardsley.
Oh yeah. Very local. Kissed Lizzie McGuire on Lizzie McGuire. Yeah, that was a big thing. Big thing at the time. Big love triangle,
wow,
too.
This is
in real life.
such an era that I'm not aware of.
Yeah. But
back in our day.
When they brought him back for Young Justice, when it got revitalized and put on HBO, or DC Universe, now HBO Max, I'm really glad that he's still so actively involved. Yes. And then the last interpretation we want to talk about is Scott Menville.
I have some after that, though.
Oh, the last one I brought up on my list is Scott Menville, who plays him on Teen Titans. And Teen Titans was such a wonderful show where they don't care about secret identities and all that stuff. Like, literally, the character, like, Robin is Robin. Dick Grayson, they don't even mention Dick Grayson, to the point where there's always fan theory about which Robin he actually was. They do a great job diving into the psychology of Robin. in that show when they introduced the character Red X and with Slade. Like, they do just fantastic. And his voice is iconic as the character, to the point where if I hear Scott Menville, I'm like, oh, it's Robin. Like, I know that voice. But any thoughts on Titans or Teen Titans and not Teen Titans Go, because I hate it?
Well, that's what I was going to say. As long as we stick to Teen Titans,
I was
not
going to
Teen
say
Titans
Scott
Go.
Menville. He did all those things, didn't he?
Yes, he did Teen Titans Go as well.
And I would also
And the
add
movie.
that he voiced Robin in Lego Dimensions.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. For those of you who aren't familiar with Lego Dimensions, that was it was short-lived, where you bought Lego characters and you could put them on a pad and they appeared on your video in your video game.
Skylanders.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly like Skylanders.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Any other Rob? You have more Robins?
Yes, I do. Are we familiar with the cartoon Batman Under the Red Hood?
Yes.
Yes, we have 2 Robins in there.
Producer Melanie and I just watched that.
Jensen Ackles
Plays Jason Todd /
Yes.
the Red Hood.
and NPH.
This was right before How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
Right before he was the superstar that he was. Like, it was right after Harold and Kumar, where he was kind of starting his little upswing. And then
Dr. Horrible and everything. And NPH, Neil Patrick Harris, who played Dick Grayson Nightwing in the 2010 animated film Batman Under the Red Hood.
that is a fantastic movie.
Yes.
Jensen Ackles does a great job, where he does a great monologue about
We're huge Jensen Ackles fans
about
here
killing.
on this podcast.
Yeah. About
All of
killing
us.
the Joker. He does a great monologue about
Yes.
how every person and they bring this up in Titans, because obviously the Joker is the one who kills Jason Todd, and
With a crowbar.
and
then blows him up.
they do show it in Titans, and we were very surprised with how accurately they showed it. And it is implied that that's how Jason Todd or Robin dies in the Snyderverse too. But he does Jensen Ackles does a great job, and like Rob said, we are very big Jensen Ackles fans. So to have him not only play, and he even cosplayed as the Red Hood.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'll show you pictures after. It's
Now he's
really cool.
Batman.
Yeah, now he's Batman in the Long Halloween.
I would also like to throw in there good old Casey Kasem, who voiced Robin in the Super Friends animated series.
Deep cut, the only
Yes.
sidekick on the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm Casey Kasem, and you're watching Super Friends. And then finally, I would like to ask what you gentlemen, what you feel about this. How do you feel about Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
I hated it. I vehemently hated it.
But
Now, what
wasn't
I'm
Robin.
referring to
He was
is
never Robin.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt in The Dark Knight Rises. There are theories and thoughts that he was Robin. It says late in the film, viewers learn that the character's real name is Robin.
Yeah.
And there's hints that he was sort of the Robin to that Batman, and it's it's non-canonical, of course. But how do we feel about that?
If they would have actually made him Robin, I would be okay with it, because I do like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. So I think if they would have actually made him, okay, scratch that, not Robin, but Nightwing, just because of age-wise in the movie,
Right.
he would have to be Nightwing. But I don't think he was supposed to be Robin. I think they did that on purpose. They named him Robin just to get at people.
Get at.
Yeah, like get at,
Like
to get at people, like get on their nerves and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Paul?
I hated it. I hated it. As somebody who is a very big Robin fan, and the idea of Robin and the concept of Robin, and grew up watching Batman the Animated Series and Batman Forever and all that, I get their concept. They amalgamated a lot of different Robins into one. And that's why they called him Robin, not Dick Grayson, not Jason Todd. Even his name, John Blake, Tim Drake.
Right.
Like, he figures out who Batman is. He's gonna die really quick once he takes over as quote unquote Batman. He's got he couldn't handle 3 thugs.
Yeah.
And even better, I love when he's defending himself and he uses his gun to ricochet a bullet and kill somebody. And then he's looking at his gun. He's like, no, guns are bad. And then he picks up a shotgun when he goes into the
I would
hospital.
like to preface this by saying that I feel that Dark Knight Rises is profoundly stupid.
Yeah. If I think it would have been better for me anyway if they had called him Richard Grayson.
Yeah.
Like when he also gives her a piece of paper with his name instead of just being like, oh, it's Robin.
Yeah.
I hate that movie.
Dramatic effect.
That movie, it has some merit, and there are scenes in it that I like. There are parts of it that I really like. I think it's Christian Bale's better Batman performance because I hate to say he was really outshined in The Dark Knight.
Oh, clearly.
yeah.
But people don't remember Christian Bale for being Batman in that.
No.
But I definitely dislike not only that concept, but I thought it was like they wanted it to be a wink and a nod, like, hey, like it's Robin.
It was a terrible movie.
Yeah. I think they could have done way better.
Yeah.
If they wanted to make him a Robin, they could have used if they just said, oh, Richard Grayson, we have you right here.
Yeah.
I would have been like, okay, like I get it. It's an Elseworld story. It's not, but it just
Brain is feeling both warm and fuzzy. And then I would be remiss if I did not discuss the original individual who played Robin in 1943 film Serial. That would be Douglas Croft, who was the original Robin before anyone was Robin. And that's all the Robins I have to add.
I think that
covers all our Robins.
There are a ton more. Like they do a lot of great what if stories and
Bruce Wayne as
Robin.
Right.
They do address Dick Grayson in The Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
They bring him up in Batman Beyond. So like Robin, he unfortunately he is an essential part of the Batman mythos, but at the same time he's somebody who's become his own character, and I really enjoy that. And I think it's safe to say that all of us are kind of on this. It's weird for all of us to be on the same page where we all really
Especially
enjoy.
when it's DC.
Well, I
Especially
think
when it's
I
DC.
understand that if you have a character who's around for 80 years, that they need to have some sort of character arc, some sort of progression, and to just maintain themselves as that sort of sidekick doesn't make sense. But to become Nightwing, that makes sense. And then to have multiple Robins over time, I think that's a clever idea.
To have a child sidekick, you need to have them eventually grow up.
Yes.
Even though they are basically a child who's living in a grown-up world, a very grown-up world in some cases, seeing those characters grow up and take over the mantles, like even the MCU's leaning that way right now with all these new younger heroes that they're trying to introduce. So it's.
I will say that's one of the things that I really enjoyed over the past couple of days studying Robin was the idea that Robin doesn't, that he grows as a character and that he develops in the sense that he doesn't want to always be in Batman's shadow. He wants to be his own.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that DC does, sort of lean towards the idea that characters grow in real time also, and he's not always going to be a 13-year-old child, that he's going to want to have his own, aspirations for life. And I think that's kind of neat. I like that in the DC universe. And I've always said that I feel that the DC comics are far superior to the Marvel comics.
Yes.
So I think that's going to wrap us up on Robin. Right. Star City rating on Robin. No, I'm just kidding.
Which one? A 2, a 6, a 12, a 13.
I was tempted to rate our favorite Robins, but I feel like each Robin just brings something so unique.
Yeah, I think so.
That you can't.
That they're all different, and it's not fair to rank them as Robins because a lot of them also were just as good, if not better, outside of being Robin.
Chris O'Connell's the last one on the list.
Who was? Chris O'Donnell. Yeah. But so Fan Feedback Friday. Who's a character that you would like us to do an episode on? So we had a couple. Rob needs to stop playing on Facebook. We learned, especially with what ifs and all that stuff. It's fun to kind of imagine some of these characters that could. Obviously, when we do character studies, we prefer a character that has a lot of backstory to them and a lot of different interpretations, so that way we can. Yeah. I mean, this is an hour and a half episode just on the idea of Robin.
Yeah.
So we have Wolverine.
All right.
Jarvis / Alfred comparison.
I'm telling you, that needs to happen.
Well, I would not object to the mentor figure episode, like an episode based on like all these mentor figures.
As long as it ends in a musical interlude,
I'll do my best. But like a Lucius Fox, Alfred, DC does that a lot more than Marvel. It's weird because DC does more hero teams. Marvel tended to do way more like Spider-Man did not have a supporting cast.
No. Yeah, there was no sidekick to Spider-Man.
Yeah, now there's a guy in the chair. Taserface.
Taserface.
Yeah. Green Lantern. I think
Pluro.
Green Lanterns. Green
As long
Lanterns
as it's not
Korg.
his corpse.
I said it right. Thank you very much. Korg, Ronnie Castrovinci.
Korg. I would love to do a Ronnie show.
Ronnie Castrovinci,
Yeah.
and then producer Melanie. Maybe if she came on the show.
She's been on before.
She's sitting right there.
I know.
was-
I keep trying to get her. Martha,
Why'd you say that name?
because it's on the list.
Oh.
But we had some good ones. I'm sure. Usually, unfortunately, we do fan feedback Friday, then record on Friday, and then like on Sunday, I'm like, oh, I got more.
Yeah.
But I think a secondary characters episode would actually be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
looking at those kind of auxiliary characters that are always in the background and always just kind of, we want the best for you type characters. Aunt May would be another one, like
yeah.
stuff like that.
And Uncle Ben.
Uncle Ben.
I got a good episode.
You got
Okay, go for it.
What is it?
I'm gonna leave listeners in surprise. We'll talk off air.
No, can't wait.
Oh, shh.
But speaking of talking off air, Ronnie, if people wanted to interact with us
talk
off
off
air,
Off air?
let me finish. God, I'm gonna edit you guys out.
We were trying to help you out.
If people want to interact with us when we're not on the air, how would they do that?
Well, they can't interact with us while we're on the air. So
Not yet.
Not yet. But no, you can definitely reach out to us on Facebook. Just look up the Multiverse Fancast or even the Misfit Faction. You can also find us on Instagram, the Misfit Faction. Find us on Twitter, the Misfit Faction Media Network. Make sure to check out our YouTube channel as well as our website, themisfitfaction.com, where you can get all of links to all of our episodes, also as well as reading Rob's articles. Check out some photos that we've taken throughout the years and everything. Again, that's themisfitfaction.com.
Well done.
Yes.
Thanks.
Also, keep an eye out on our social media because I will actually be posting about our giveaway this week. Unfortunately, I had to do midnights this past week, so posting has been something of a challenge.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
those of us who are involved in the educational system, this is the time when we are heading back to work.
Terrible. But we want to thank you guys for listening, and thank you guys for liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing. Every little bit helps, and as always, we're very grateful and very appreciative of that. If you guys have an idea for a character story you'd like to hear us, make sure you reach out, because I think our typical standard has been movie, TV show, character study, and topic.
Yes.
That's kind of been our
yeah.
usually whenever we're playing our episodes, it's kind of what it is. It's also Rob texting us on Monday going, I'm freaking out,
Yeah,
guys.
I like to know ahead of time.
Yeah, I mean, Wikipedia, you can just read
Yeah.
a little bit. You know, go on. We're doing a Superboy episode next.
No, we're not.
No, we're not. No, when we get to Titans, we'll talk about Superboy.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to wrap us up
All
for
right.
tonight. As always, I'm Paul,
I'm Ronnie.
And I'm Rob.
and we'll be back in a flash.
Smorgasbord!
See ya.
Can you clean up your mess now?